Makes sense being top 8 here. In the top right, still represented by Mindfreak, one of the biggest brands in StarCraft 2, in Australian esports, I should say, and also in StarCraft 2. It's the man himself, #1 Terran down under, Seither. Oops.
All right, so obviously just a little bit of chat there. Looks like a bit of confusion regarding the server. Quantel, of course, I think meant to be on a different server for game 1. Usually they have like an alternating server pick sort of thing, but I imagine this is going to be Singapore,
yeah.
Singapore. So just a little bit of a mistake with the server that first game was hosted on. It does happen. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So anyways, we'll get into the game in a sec, and luckily that's early enough. Nothing had happened. So always good to hit that Control-Alt-F and have that server in the top left of the screen. Quantel immediately realizing, hey, wait a second, this is not what I expected.
Yeah, good work in that regard. I want to keep everything kosher, above board, all things peachy clear. So yeah, like you mentioned, no one scouted anyone there. It's no harm, no foul to get that remake. So yeah, pretty keen to get into this game. Of course, we had 2,000 atmospheres for our first map. What have you been seeing lately from Terran and TVP on 2,000 atmospheres?
Honestly, it's so specific based on the player, but I mean, I've been watching a lot of Beyond recently because he has been on a tear in TVP. That's that season again, you know, the end of year, Beyond's godlike again. So definitely a very kind of cool time to see that. And I honestly feel like we've seen 3 racks, a lot of gas first, where they go for the kind of like a TVT opening, where you delay your command center about 30-40 seconds, get the factory up nice and early, and then you can kind of do not completely one basey, but you can hit a good Widow Mine or Hellion drop timing. You've also got the just straight up, I'm going to build 2 depots at the front with my barracks, deny your scouting, and then build a command center on the high ground has been very common. I feel like Terran's just so diverse, and I think it might have been Hero Marine versus Trap just last weekend, who went and said, you know what, let's go and build a 3rd command center immediately at the very start, and then play 3 racks off the back of that. So it really comes down to what styles the players want to bring out, but I feel more than ever, there's no Terran that just does one thing in this matchup, right? It's like, I guess the most predominant thing is definitely seeing a lot of 3 barracks before 3rd command center, like, you know, just the straight up Raven tank bio medevac push, that sort of thing. But depending on the player, a lot of them out there are just saying, hey, let's be entirely unpredictable and make it difficult for the Protoss.
I'm a huge fan of that, the 3cc 3 racks. That you know, like you mentioned, Hero Marine did it against Trap recently. We've been seeing it for like a year, I think. It's been around for a while. Certainly the Korean Terrans were the one that popularized that. They love their 3 racks and TVPs. They love their, like, you know, timing attacks with bio and that sort of thing. And then of course, you know, people like Hero Marine, who have got a laundry list worth of builds under his inside his big sexy brain. They're going to look at the Korean players. What are they up to right now? You know, all those gods from Korea with their 7k MMR, and just pick apart those builds that they see in GSL every night. Well, I guess night for us would be late morning for Europe when GSL is on. So all the Europeans are generally awake for it.
Heck yeah, indeed. Endless stream of good, high-quality StarCraft is what, of course, it's all about as we dive into the next map. And down here in the bottom left-hand side, as you said, representing Mindfreak, a very storied team in Australian esports history, is Seither.
Yes, sir. And in the top right, a new face here in the top 8. How far can he go? This is Elite of Indonesia, Quantel.
Quantel has had such a rise, Maynard, such a rise. You know, Quantel, you can see it in his Aligulac graph, where it's like, he was below 1,000 Aligulac, which is basically, you're not really a competitive player. You probably don't have any or many recorded matches in tournaments. And then September 2019 and end of 19, start of 2020, it just started to climb and climb and get higher and higher, and he's recently had another jump again just in the last month with all of those great results. So Quantel really is a player who's been stepping it up, and I'm not sure if my memory served me right, but I'm pretty sure Quantel was Masters 3 when the Southeast Asian Games a couple years ago got announced as a big tournament, kind of, you know, Olympics of Asia, people call it, and StarCraft was there, and a bunch of the Southeast Asian players got really into practicing for that, and Quantel went really hard, and I'm pretty sure hit GM and kind of, you know, got a lot better at the game. That's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, basically Quantel just improved an insane amount from a player who's like not even a semi-pro or anything even close to that, to now being, you know, so impressive, taking down some of the mainstays of the region. And as we said, good wins over Piglet and Azure, 2 Terran players. So I'm very curious to see exactly what he brings out in this series and how it matches up with Seither, who for now you can see Seither has actually opted for the skipping production on the barracks. That sped up the factory and then the reactor. So he's going to have to get a bunker down to be safe, and Seither will indeed do that. So Seither's playing a very safe opening, but he's getting very quick tech. He's delaying his marine production a little bit. And Quantel opening up quite standard, just chronoing an adept across the map. It looks like a Twilight Council for Quantel.
Yep, so a relatively normal opening here from our Protoss, apart from the fact that he lost his scouting probe, which is an unfortunate mistake at the start of the game there. Not game ending, but definitely, you know, a disadvantage. Not something you see a whole lot at the highest level. And Seither, yeah, is so safe with the bunker. Starport up on the backside as well. Looks like he's going to be probably hiding a medevac here. Does like to open up early with that, with the, you know, with these flying units, just to make sure that he can get across the map and do a little bit of damage plus scout at the same time. The power of the medevac drop. The adept is just going to be shading here and making sure that the Terran is also keeping all of their cards close to their chest, and indeed that is the case. So yeah, extremely safe opening here from Seither, not really scoutable by Quantel, and he's going to actually just wall off here in the natural. Not 100% sure if this is Hellions or not. He will see the reactor on the barracks, but you know, hasn't seen the switcheroo on the factory of whether or not that's Hellions or Widow Mines. He doesn't know that yet.
Yeah, doesn't even get to actually see the factory. So this technically could be a 3-racks, just because that adept shade vision is so short. So you got to kind of just play it in a bit of a generic fashion, and Quantel decides for the 3-gate blink robo. So not quite the 4-gate blink, not quite just the 2-gate into the super fast third. It's a very balanced build order, and this gives you a pretty well-timed observer out of the robo. Adept scouting for proxies as well on the left side of the map. Now, I would imagine this is a marine drop from Seither while the Hellions drive across and try to do a run by. Yeah, looks like it's going to be that. Oh, this is a classic build order. So this is just a great way to put pressure. And if your opponent slips up a little bit, they overreact to that drop. You usually time it out so the Hellions run in just after the drop kind of starts unloading in that main mineral line. And if they pull their units, if they do a bit of a little cheeky panic F2, then those Hellions are going to get in and kill the entire natural mineral line.
Yeah, absolutely. Raven follow up here from Seither as well. In comes that prism from Quantel. Yeah. Bit of a precarious moment right here for both players. The Hellions may have just missed it.
Oh, this is actually absolutely wild. The Stalker not positioned properly on the natural.
No.
Oh, no.
And a drop on the main at the same time.
Every single probe to this Maynard.
Yeah, this is devastating damage here. 1 Hellion got blocked, but 2 got in and has got a full medevac contingent of Marines here in the main base, which have completely turned the main into a ghost town here. Quantel bringing everything back up, the gateway units, the prism, the probes, and he's showing his hand to Seither as well as trying to just mitigate the disaster in his main base. He does at least kill the medevac with the Marines inside of it, so that is a glass half full there for Quantel.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse. I mean, that was like he picked up every unit and left his base right at that time. And that's, like you said, he didn't know. It could have been a Widow Mine drop or something like that that doesn't hit as hard, but that was a very committed pressure. Seither's got a pretty good safe setup behind it. I mean, I say pretty good. Jeez. Yeah, talk about respect for the Blink Stalkers, Maynard. That's 3 bunkers. Thing is, they're mostly empty and there's no repair space on the natural right now.
Yeah, I mean, in come the Marines now, and yeah, you're quite right. Where's that repair space? He actually doesn't get the wraparound there because of those depots, and 1 bunker goes down, and he's got this one in the backside. The Martha Stewart bunker, 1 prepared earlier.
But Seither just attacked his own auto turret rather than finish that bunker. I'm surprised Quantel lets him get away with finishing it because that tank was sieged so far back. Honestly, Quantel just let him get away with a little bit of a moment to recover. He's going to blink in and go for the bunker. He does get it. Nice play by Quantel. And he's going to let those shields regenerate. A rotate into the main would be pretty perfect right about now. There's a Banshee out here as well. An interesting choice by Seither, who's just trying to get out any sort of damage output he can just to survive.
I feel like the Banshee's meant for harassment here, but he's got everything on the front door just in case. And there's that rotation to the main base. The bunker is empty. There's 2 tanks here, though. This could be bad for Quantel if he commits.
Yeah, I think this is, in terms of direct damage, this is over for Quantel now. I think you got to load up the Stalker drop and try to hit that main mineral line. And just look for any little chip-offs here and there. I mean, this is a good way to do it. Pick off an SCV. Oh, he's going to die!
Oh my god!
Quantel, you mad lad!
That is a psychopathic maneuver here from the Protoss. He loses 4 or 5 Stalkers there to the Terran's defenses. Yes, he gets some tanks. Yes, he gets some damage. But I'm not sure that was worth it at all for Quantel.
Oh, dude, that was a patience blink. I think we can see who Quantel's spirit animal is in terms of pro gamers he looks up to. He's going to go in again. Quantel. Another wild move. 2 Stalkers for a tank. But he does take out the most important units. Raven, couple of tanks have gone down. He's lost 12 Stalkers for 2 tanks, 11 Marines, a Raven. I mean, this is like pretty okay in terms of removing technicality of the Terran. Problem is, of course, with this scenario, that third was not up too early. Quantel doesn't have forges on the way. I mean, Quantel's trying to get rid of these important units and put pressure on Seither so that Seither gets overeager and pushes into him. But Quantel's got to stop diving here. Seither has not stopped building tanks. He hasn't swapped into Widow Mines. This is not a scenario where there's that big weakness of stopped tank production. Seither is respecting it. And not just that, Seither is adapting. Seither wanted to do a 3-racks push Maynard with a Raven with tanks. But do you know what he's going for now? He's going to drop that 3rd CC, which is already going up in the main, and he's going to chill. He's going to take a big deep breath and say, you really want to kill me? Nope, let's take a moment. And that is exactly the right call for Seither. Do not feel overeager with shoving here. The Forge has just started. The Banshees see no gas on that 3rd. They kill 5 probes. They're going to kill even more in the natural. I mean, this is actually a situation where not only is this doing damage, but it's actually telling Seither, hey, he's not really ahead of me at all. I can take as much time as I want.
He could, I mean, definitely after killing this many probes, just chilling seems to be the right call. But honestly, I wouldn't be... I'm a little worried for Quantel if Seither does want to push. I'm not seeing any splash damage here. There's no Templar Archives. There's no Robo Bay. There's no Colossi in production or anything like that. A push with +1 and Stim and Combat Shield? I mean, yeah, he's going to have charge. Yes, he's got Stalkers, but charge lots and Stalkers without any Forge upgrades. I mean, they just going to melt to Stim Bio.
Well, Zealot dropped perfectly timed.
Very nice.
Comes on in. Seither was not ready for that. I agree, though. There's not even sentries at home Maynard, so the Immortal Sentry Stalker army can do really well with Force Fields and Guardian Shield. Quantel, nice pickup. Kind of picks up those Zealots and drops them over the SCVs right on top of the units. But can he defend?
Oh my God.
And you've already said, well, probably no. And I think I've got to agree with you there. There's only 2 Zealots, Maynard.
Yeah, the Zealots go down. A lot of Stalkers, a couple of Immortals as well, but is it going to be enough? An overcharged shield battery with an Archon feels invincible, but there's a lot of firepower here for the Terran. He targets it down, and down it goes. That's definitely the hardest nut to crack here for the Protoss defense, and it does go down. Seither still with a fair bit of bio remaining. He desperately wants those tanks killed, but they are not going down. 2 of them do, but 1 still remains, and Seither continues his pressure on the 3rd. Devastating damage back at home, though, for Seither. Like, the Quantel's Prism kept him alive in this game. That play right there could not have been more clutch. Getting all that damage done on the SCVs, and also the fact that Seither just didn't seem to care about it for a little while, or didn't have anything at home prepared earlier to deal with it. He has lost enough SCVs for a game to still be in here for Quantel, but this army pig, he's still got a little bit of work ahead of him to try and hold on to this 3rd Nexus.
Yeah, this is kind of my point. Like I was saying, though, Seither could have afforded to play this a bit slower, not take that damage, and this would be beyond game over. As it is, that's still a lot of Marine in the water. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, what have you got to engage against this? I mean, there's no way to really deal with it. The Immortals will take out the tanks. I like that. Stalker focus fire. Nicely done by Quantel. But is there enough Zealots in there to back it up? I'm not quite sure. Quantel taking as good of a fight as he possibly can. Seither trying to stutter step his way out of trouble, as is the way of the Terran. And he will manage to focus down the Immortal. 1 Immortal gets saved by the Prism, but Quantel here just hanging on. Down 2 upgrades. And just with Zealot Arc and Immortal, no sentries, no Colossi, no Storm, and these small and scrappy fights. A shield battery would be a lot of help. A few more Archons, just a few more Zealots to flank and overwhelm. But Quantel's already lost all of his valuable Stalkers, and with that, his ability to really shut down this push.
Yeah, it's like what we're watching on right now is something that Quantel could probably handle, but the problem is there's another blow of blue in the way here. Big army lead for Seither, a big reinforcement on the way, and Quantel's entire army is on screen right now. So this is definitely not looking good for the Protoss as Seither continues his rally. The Archon juggling here, the Immortal juggling, nice stuff. Very cute from Quantel, but is it going to be enough to stop the 50 army supply advantage for the Terran? I don't think so. Outlook grim. Down goes the Archon. No more shield battery to keep that thing alive. And the second Archon is being morphed in. The Charizard's doing a great job at keeping this army at bay. It is just a small smattering of bios, so the Charizard's actually doing a very good job at zoning back. Quantel pulling everything to that tank to take it down. And I think that's Quantel's like 17th killed tank in this game. He's killed so many, but it is not enough. GG. Seither gets the victory in the end.
Very nicely played there by the veteran weathering the storm. I mean, honestly, that looked like just perfect. Everything coming together at the start of that for Seither, yet Quantel scrambled really well. We saw the shield battery kick in, avoid devastating damage, get back on his feet, found some damage of his own. May have committed a few too many times. I kind of do think if Quantel transitioned out of that a little bit earlier, then that might have gone a little better. But we definitely saw the style, which I was kind of expecting. It's a very popular style recently in the PvT meta, which is I'm going to make a lot of blink stalkers and they're going to blink into your stuff a lot over and over again at your base. Try to kill all your tanks, try to get that damage. And then I'm going to go into that sort of low upgrade, 3 bases of minerals, lots of charge style, which it can really pack a punch. It's a very powerful style, but Seither, I like the way he just kind of patiently weathered it after losing his dropped not just 1 extra bunker, but 3 bunkers in total. And, you know, really good respect from Seither.
Indeed. And as the dust settles, he's got himself a map advantage. We're going to take a short break here before we see map 2, but don't go away as we see the Quantel game 2 coming up next. See you then. G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back to the DreamHack Masters Oceanic Rest of Asia main event here. I'm Maynard, and with me is Pig. I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but we are both wearing blue coats with Blues Brothers. I guess today it's looking very sharp. We did not coordinate this. I just looked at my collection of coats, and I'm like, which coat haven't I worn in a while? Oh, the blue one. Put that one on. And apparently you've got a nice blue coat too, so this is awkward.
Well, this is it, man. What can I say? The blue, it's the color of a lot of Protoss things. Does that maybe mean that we are both Protoss biased?
Well, I mean, we enjoy the latter, I'm sure, and the latter is very Protoss biased, apparently, according to the numbers. So let's say yes.
Pylons. Probes and pylons, Maynard.
That's right.
Big blue crystals, big lasers. A lot of the Protoss attacks are blue as well. Stalker projectiles, kind of blue.
Yep, Storm.
Oracle lasers, blue. Void Ray, prismatic alignment, blue as well. So maybe we are secretly here part of the cabal that is, of course, rooting for Quantel to upset and destroy Seither here in this opening match.
Maybe, but also in the Terran campaign, you have blue Marines. So what if we're Terran favored and we've just trying to hide that the whole time?
Ooh, that could actually be the case. That's true. I mean, we're definitely not like the, what are they called? What are the Alarak Protoss called? They're all red and black and cool looking. Tal'Darim. Yeah, they're cool. They're the ones that are always huffing on the terrazine gas. So
yeah, they're the edgy one. They got all the spikes and the red and the black, and they're all like, ugh, we're ambivalent to good and evil. We're kind of in the middle in the gray area. Ugh, we're edgy.
Yeah, an edgelord's dream. Everyone's like, Alarak was such an interesting character.
Oh,
like
so
what?
deep.
He just says edgy things and doesn't commit to anything.
He's so deep. It's just because he's got that incredible voice actor. You know, he just sounds cool. I had the Valhalla. Yeah, Dancy. I had Q from Star Trek. Remember that? I had his voice pack for like a year, I reckon, as my announcer. It's so good. In the top left, messed up his team earlier, but we're gonna get it right this time. In the top left here, representing Indonesia, currently down in the series, this is GDA's Quantel.
And the favorite down here in the bottom right-hand side, good play in that last game. It's Seither.
Yeah, pretty interesting start to that game one there, with Quantel being maybe a little bit overzealous with the Stalker harassment, containment. He kind of traded okay here and there, but then you know, lost quite a bit. And it wasn't so much that was leaving me concerned. It was like I guess the lack of like the countermeasures to a ball of stim bio. You know, I don't mind a ball of gateway units. Certainly, like gateway heavy styles have been super effective in the past in PPT. But usually, you know, there's forge upgrades, double forge, something like that, or at least you know, you'll have charge lots with +1 armor or something like that to sort of mitigate the +1 attack timing from the Terran. And there wasn't any of that there for Quantel, unfortunately. So his army was it was just not quite strong enough to handle the follow-up, and it's very clear that that's going to be the follow-up from a Terran. It's, you know, 9 times out of 10 that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's a good style. Let's skip upgrades and make a ton of charge lots, and I have my 3rd mineral line saturated, and Terran's 3rd is way later, right? It's good. We see it a lot. It's just, you lose like 16 Stalkers before that point, your army's just worth a lot less than this, right? It's just, it ended up being way too much value kind of dissipated in those Stalker attacks where, I mean, Stalkers are so expensive. Sometimes you know, you look at a Stalker, you're like, oh, it's like a Roach or a Marauder. It's like, no. That's almost 200 resources. Like each, you know, 2 Stalkers, bam, that's like 2.5 Zealots, and, you know, 5 Stalkers is almost enough gas for an Archon. There's a few different ways to look at it, but essentially Stalkers are bloody expensive is what I'm saying. And in a perfect PvT, you very rarely you very rarely ever lose your Stalkers, right? You don't mind losing your Zealots. Occasionally some Archons go down. But there's 2 big kind of things that you look at the retention of and you go, oh, this Protoss is getting so much value. One is Colossus, of course. You keep those alive, especially if there's Vikings around. You keep saving them with Warp Prisms, sending them back to shield batteries and stuff. But Stalkers is another one. If the Terran can kind of catch the Protoss out of position or force them to fight when they're not quite ready, Stalkers crumble to stim bio. We saw that in our last game. We saw it, of course, when they were blinking into entrenched siege tank positions with layers of tanks and bio as well. But you know what? This is a bit of a different situation. It's a very similar build for Quantel, except he skipped the Adept and just gone only for Stalkers this time, and is being really defensive to start. But on the other side, it's a 3 racks for Seither. So he's going to be going for that build, which is so darned popular on this map here on Lightshade, with the short rush distance and the big wide open entrances to the base.
Yeah. Well, the 3 racks is definitely a favorite of mine. We'll see how it works out here for Seither. He's going to be going the upgradeless option. There is a version of this with the engineering bay where you hit with +1 as well. Usually you don't have marauders in that. And the great thing, like the reason why I love 3 racks so much and why a lot of Terrans love it so much, it is a really powerful timing attack. If you nail that timing, it is such a huge power spike for you as a Terran. And the Protoss, if they don't scout it, they just die. You know, it is so tough to hold without being super prepared for it, to have an observer scout it, to have a hallucinated phoenix scout it, or to you know, at least see a big ball of marines in the natural with your shade adept or something like that. You really need to see it coming as a Protoss. So onus is on Quantel to identify that this timing attack is coming.
Well, I mean, this is the hardest situation for Quantel. He's gone that greedy third base, 2-gate blink robo. It can defend this and it can do it well, but he does not have any scouting for a long time. I mean, you don't with any of these blink robo builds in general. It's going 4 gas. He needs to be making more Stalkers and a shield battery on his natural and his third right now. Otherwise, Seither can just push his natural and literally straight up win the game. 14 Marines, 2 Marauders moving out, a few more Marines coming behind it. Stim and shields will be kicking in about 30 seconds, Maynard. And you know what? He's going to have no warning at all. The Observer will, or the Stalker will see this as it pushes up the ramp.
That's
going to give him no time to prepare. Without a shield battery, I do not see Quantel holding this. This might just be a quick 2-0.
It may be. We really would love to build this game up, but it really does not look good for Quantel on paper. The Observer sees it. It gets a little bit of time ahead of himself, but he's just dropped the Robo Bay. No shield batteries in production here for Quantel. Here comes that Stim, and these Stalkers are going to melt like a hot knife through butter. This does not look good for Quantel.
You know what? Combat Shields wasn't done in time, Maynard. A little late on that was Seither. It kicks in now after almost all of his units are gone. Quantel with some very calm blinking back as well.
Very nice.
Dude, this went about as well for Quantel as it could. This is 2 games in a row. We've been
control.
like, he's going to die. And you know what? He loses 5 Stalkers. He loses 6 probes. It's not a good trade for Quantel. But considering the circumstances, I think he's pretty happy with that as he flies an Observer into the turret. Unfortunately, it did just lose that there on the natural as Seither in the chaos of everything that was happening. But third base is up. You've got 4 gashes. You've got Robo Bay tech finish, which means you can start Colossus production. Honestly, good calm handling of what was a terrible situation for Quantel. And Seither so far, 2 games in a row, punishing the fact that Quantel likes these blink openings. We've known for a while the weakness of a blink opening. It's balanced in every regard, except for the fact that it does not scout. You cannot force your way past the ramp to see what they're doing behind it. So Quantel got caught out 2 games in a row with some damage, putting him behind. Let's see if he can fight back against such a dominant Terran in the region.
Really good blink control there from Quantel, just getting some damage and a few hit points off those Stalkers, not losing any there on the counterattack. And I'm liking where he's at. You know, see the power of the 3 racks for me is that it's not all in. You usually take a third behind it, but there's no third here for Seither. He's kind of slowing down in that regard. He's making a lot of stuff on 2 bases here. So it looks like he's going to be going for a 2-base all-in. He drops the 4th and 5th barracks on 2 bases. And Quantel, he's got his production about to finish up. So I'm actually kind of liking this for the Protoss as things get a little bit further along in this game.
Yeah, I think Seither might be expecting Quantel to bring out that same style of like just Heavy Zealot Immortal from last game, in which case just a massive army of bio mines is really effective against that. The problem for him here is that there's already a Colossus about to hit the field. And note, I mean, there is actually, sorry, almost a second Colossus with range about to hit the field and +1 attack. And honestly, that's going to be able to shave down his army. Now, you can still do this, of course, as Seither with the 5 racks. It's going to be about trying to kind of drop in the main while simultaneously attack the third base. When he sees this Colossi, he's going to have to back off. I mean, there's not many force fields, actually. Oh, Quantel!
Oh, big pounce there on the Colossus. Instantly snaps one. The other one's still alive, though. It still has that +1 attack. It doesn't quite have extended thermal lance just yet. Seither fanning out his units. He's picking the fight here with his Marauders, but I don't think he's got quite enough firepower. Oh, now the Medevac's are under pressure. He's forced to fight now.
I thought this was a little bit overly ambitious for Quantel, but the tail end of that fight turns well in his favor. If Quantel can add charge in here as well, I mean, he's got a lot of room to breathe right now. And he's going to be adding the Templar Archives, going up to 8 gateways. Quantel looking fantastic as he adds the Warp Prism in here. Charge as well on the way. Would love to see that +1 armor upgrade for Quantel. Seither's going to swap into dropping the top side of the map. But, you know, he's gone and built that 3rd command center. It's just it was so late. It was after he went 5 barracks. I really don't like this play. I mean, I feel like if you're going to do it the 5 racks before the 3rd command center, it makes you so all in, so committed to doing damage. And the moment you lose that first section of army, it's like, oh, you can't do that anymore. So Seither's forced to just kind of back her up. He's got a great work account. I mean, he's actually been producing SCVs nonstop really well. He's still got a big army, but Protoss can match his army supply. So it's got to be about positioning for Seither. He cannot beat hit through those Colossus front on. Front on fight, Quantel will easily win. Quantel, though, doesn't have a lot of vision out there.
Yeah, he certainly does not. Seither kind of showing off that he's going for a poke at the 3rd base, showing him one hand while hiding the other, and that is a big drop in the main. It took a little bit for Quantel to react to it, honestly. He's not realized he's eating some Widowmine shots as well. The Stalker's going down. Zealot's getting really softened up. 10 probes. Oh, he's always plus to attack. Big pick off there for Seither, as well as that probe damage. That's an insane drop for the Terran.
Yeah, and the army absolutely has to be split at this stage of the game when you're playing defensive Colossus. But Quantel caught with his whole army in a lump, and he wasn't even defending the front. A bit of a misstep for Quantel.
Oh, the pylon!
And Seither. Oh, man. I mean, that's it, dude. This is just devastating damage. This is 18 workers. He's still at the 3rd base as well. He already killed the 4th without a cancel, and he's down there as well. Oh, Quantel is having circles run around him by Seither, the King Terran of the region. He has that title for a reason. Seither is a beast and a monster, and you're not going to deal with him making mistakes like that. So, I mean, this is honestly, Quantel kind of has to push now. He's got to go for that big all-in. But the Vikings and double Starport Viking production plus 3 ghosts about to pop. I don't see this working for Quantel.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing Quantel's got going, is that he does have a big army, but with this much Viking production, Seither had been dropped a 2nd starport earlier that I failed to mention, but there's 2 starports worth of Viking production here. Really hard to get Colossi to work against this. There's only 3. There's plenty of Vikings in the sky. The Ghosts come forward a little bit too far there. He might lose 1. He does lose 1. Drops an EMP. It softens up the Zealots, but I think Seither might have enough firepower on the ground anyway without the Ghost EMPs. And yes, indeed, he just collapses into that army of Quantel, and A moves it down. Stim for the win, baby.
GG, sniping a Colossus.